as you introduced, is a study on breaks that developers take from contributing code in open source software projects. You know what, that open source software projects are spreading and new ones are getting out there, and mostly contribution of volunteers from people that go there, are interested in the software, and they join to use it and to contribute on it. But more and more companies are getting over the software and taking it and using, adopting, and contributing in the same software. So literature says that more cohesive communities, as you pointed out before, can build a better software, and that leaving developers who leave the communities may damage the health of the community itself. And then a lot of studies have been done from the researchers on understanding how people evolve, how people join in the community. Before starting from the joining process, they analyzed the barriers that one can face while joining the softwares. Then other developers explored how people grow from starting from the peripheral role, growing more and more to the core roles. And other developers studied how people leave the communities and what are the main reasons that bring developers away. However, in this last stage, there are some gaps in literature there because it's not well understood the entire process of leaving the community. What you have done is giving a look in GitHub and in the history of contribution of developers, and we found that there are developers, mainly in the core part of the communities, that make constant contribution through time. While other developers, even if they are in the core side of the community, they can take breaks during their contribution that can last from weeks to sometimes months or years. Then we tried to refactor a little bit to remodel the living stage by taking in consideration again biological metaphor. Our idea is to compare the wakeful stage of people when they present an intense brain activity to the wakeful stage of developers that actively contributes code. While sleeping developers largely reduce their brain activities because they are sleeping, but they present other activities. They are still alive. And the same way in the community, developers are still alive, but they don't contribute code. They maybe can contribute other code reviews or comments on issues or some other signals. When live signals of people get lost and decline to their death, at the same time, developers in activity can go on and can culminate in a dead stage when they don't contribute any signal in the community. Then we want to prevent that developers go in the dead stage, because other developers can make the same reasonment and go with them, and we can lose the health of the community there. We performed interviews with few developers just to understand if our conceptualization makes sense, and we got 6 developers with different backgrounds. There were only one female developer, but they were students, they were core members, they were participating in companies that owned open source softwares. So 6 members, but with a huge variety of people. The interviews list between 60 and 90 minutes, and we open coded the answers to get a final model. This model that we get includes the stages that I pointed out before. The sleeping stage that includes developers who don't contribute code, but still they provide interesting signals in the community. They can answer emails, open discussions, and participate in other ways. On the other side, the developers don't contribute any activity, any signal in the community. And here on the edges, you can see some reason that bring developers to leave, to pass in another status. For example, there may be some professional life events, financial issues, social issues, or changes in the project that bring developers to pass from the active status to the sleeping status. Some of these reasons are common with the transition between the active and the dead stage. So this suggests that how developers react to the solicitations matters. We tried to categorize all the motivation that we found into categories: the personal reasons for developers to remain sleeping or in the dead status, and the project-related motivations. I'm going to give you now some examples of situations that one may find in communities. One developer here that gave us some reasons to go to sleep said that they were sleeping because they had other priorities. Like the student that we asked, he said that he had the exams, and then he warned the community saying, well, I'm gonna be out for a while, I'm gonna follow a discussion, but I have exam to focus on. Another developer said, it's frequent to have students that contribute only in specific periods because they get paid. For example, in the Google Software School of Code, they get paid to work during the summer school of code. Yeah. Other developers they just were overwhelmed by the work and they were out from contributing in open source. Or maybe some project-related reason may be that it's not the right moment to contribute. Someone else is taking over the task. So I can follow discussions, I can give my 2 cents in comments, but I don't really contribute code. And there may be some role change in the project that takes developers away from contributing code, but involve them in other activities like mentoring newcomers or the onboarding strategies that the community implements. At the contrary, the reasons that bring developers back to contribute are based on resolving the motivation that bring them away. For example, if there are changes in the community, if there are relevant changes in the project, they will come back contributing. If there are some other developers that call them back, ask them out, they will return to contribute. Or if they perceive themselves that their help is needed at the same points, they will return back. And if there are companies that push developers' help in the community, then they will be able to contribute again. Now I'm going to show you some of the reasons that bring developers to die. So then in this stage they are not contributing with any other signal. There may be interesting life events like the birth of the son, just vacations, or people that are on holiday, and it's a higher priority than contributing code for that. there may be changes of interest. There may be another project, competitor project, where people are contributing. So in this case, maybe it's not really a dead, but a migration in another project. There may be social reasons that bring people away, like not agreeing with community management or choices, or just a matter of shame or shameness, or not communicating enough, or changes in the project that bring people away just for lack of time or change of work or something like this. What about the resurrection then? We had people that said, well, if people are dead, they're not going to be to resurrect. I don't trust in resurrection. And then people say that the contribution of dead developers is not expected anymore in the community. But others say that if someone is hired to contribute, they will return back, because money is one of the reasons that moves developers in open source software. Or if there are strong social ties in the community, people are well disposed to help, but they are probably gone away again. Then all this explorative analysis of this interview raised some interesting questions to answer. And this is the main contribution of this work, that wants to stimulate new research, want to trigger new ideas. And here are some of them. We want to understand how common is this phenomenon of going to sleep or going to die. How can we identify this transition or prevent them in a reliable way? Which can be the most important signals that help us to understand when people are leaving or when people are taking breaks. And we want to understand also if the death of the developer is preceded from a sleeping period, so that we can act in advance before they leave, definitely. On the other hand, there are some side, concepts that were raised up, and they are related to the overall health of the project. For example, there are the question of death of turnover, the balance of people that leave and people that join. Is the turnover a good factor or not? Is it good to the health of the community or not? How does it impact in the community decisions and freshness of ideas? On the other hand, how are these for developer resurrective? One developer really matters for the community knowledge. Is it better that I try to bring it back, or is it better that I find a new one that may bring new ideas in the community? And when developers return, how does their reputation change to the other member of the community? And what barriers they face while returning in the community? And this is what we want to explore from now to the next video. And thank you for your time.